This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Scores turned out this afternoon to glimpse the faces of the 6 females accused of murdering young mother Brianna Mackey last Thursday evening. Brianna was walking along Key West Street when 4 girls exited a car, ganged her, and stabbed her repeatedly, reportedly over a cracked cell phone. The 19-year-old, who had just a day before celebrated her birthday, died in hospital soon after. Charged before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt were 4 women, 20-year-olds Theo Williams, Zaria Barrows, and Deveronique Edwards, and 19-year-old Devana Laws, along with 2 minors ages 16 and 17 years old. The accused were not required to enter a plea to the charge. They were all remanded to the Bahamas Departments of Corrections. Barrows was the only one represented by counsel and is pregnant. According to her attorney, Gina Morley, she also suffers from seizures. The matter was adjourned to March 14th at noon. Also in news from courts, another female was arraigned for that hit and run which subsequently left 1 male dead last week. 24-year-old Marinique Paul of Malcolm Road West, Bamboo Town, was formally charged with killing in the cause of dangerous driving and failing to remain stationary after the accident. According to court documents, on January 29th at 7:45 p.m., Paul was driving an unlicensed vehicle along Carmichael Road in a manner dangerous to public, thereby causing the death of 52-year-old Malchus Ashi of Sunshine Park. It was also noted that Paul was not in possession of a valid driver's license. The vehicle was not insured. She was in possession of a fraudulent license plate and disc. Paul was brought before Magistrate Caroline Vong Evans and pleaded guilty to all charges. She was held in custody until tomorrow morning at 11:30 at the request of her lawyer, Devard Francis, at which time the particulars will be disclosed. Now, despite the recent push from the United Nations envoy to outlaw marital rape, there is no firm commitment from the government on the issue. JCN's Amajal Knowles has the story following last night's town meeting on the topic of marital rape. Is it a blow to family life?
The government seems to be trying to find a middle ground between 2 extremes on what has become a very hot button issue. On one end, there are those who make the very strong argument that marital rape should be outlawed, however there's also the status quo view that holds that marriage is a sacrament ordained by God and that any criminalization of any sexual act is an attack on the family.
Within the bonds of a marriage where it has not been made clear to either spouse or by one spouse to the other any intention to end that marriage, a sexual incident that has the elements of rape would, if the social consensus is such that we can at least move matters further towards a more just society, if that should be the case, then that kind of act within the bonds of a subsisting marriage would be spousal sexual abuse, which would capture all of the elements, as I said, of a rape offense.
The AG acknowledged that there are other issues that would have to be discussed, like the term limit of 1 year.
Certain persons in civil society have indicated in comments that I've received that 1 year may be too short a period of time because of the dynamics of these relationships where there are issues of dependency. There may be issues involving children, which may limit the freedom of the wife. She may need more time to break out of that and to find acceptable accommodation. It may take longer than a year, so consideration could be to extending that period to 2 years or 3 years, depending on the consensus.
As for the concern over the suggested consent of the AG, Mr. Bethel says to simply ensure there is not one set of eyes looking at a very complex issue. Namawale Raming from the polling firm Public Domain presented the results of a study did in 2014 where persons were asked if they supported the government's consideration that the law be changed so one partner could charge another partner with rape in the Bahamas. Now, the results showed that 58% of Bahamians voted to change the law. However, interestingly enough, only 48% of men supported this change compared to 68% of women.
Oh, the pitfalls of social media. Making the rounds this time are reports that scholarships are being offered by the Organization of American States and the government of China. Now, while from time to time the Bahamas receives scholarships from agencies, there's no truth to it in this case. The scholarships offered by the OAS are available to the nationals and all its member countries of the OAS, not just the Bahamas. Furthermore, the OAS has subsequently informed that the amount attached to these grants is $15,000 rather than $30,000 as indicated in the social media message. The Chinese government, meantime, annually offers 6 scholarships to the Bahamian government. However, there is no mention of the amount of monies attached to the offers. Official information about scholarships, fellowships, and other forms of technical assistance managed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs can be found on its website. Now, a missing persons report ends in good news for a family whose loved one was lost at sea for weeks. Counting his blessing is Bahamar lifeguard Samuel Moss, who flew from Nassau to Fort Lauderdale on January 13th to purchase a small fishing boat. According to his sister Sambrika Moss, the 24-year-old bought the vessel from Florida to Bimini, where he slept with family members. The following morning, he set off for Fresh Creek, Andros to meet friends, but never reached. The Defense Force and the Bahamas Air and Sea Rescue Association was immediately contacted. After 3 weeks and countless prayers, a Good Samaritan notified the U.S. Coast Guard that a boat with one person aboard was taking on water in the Atlantic Ocean about 10 miles east of West Palm Beach. According to the Sun Centennial, when the cutter Cochina arrived near the boat, Moss was having a possible chemical reaction and one of his legs was swollen. He was brought to shore and taken to St. Mary's Medical Center in West Palm Beach. At last report, Moss was in fair condition. Stay with us, we have sports and weather up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.